Hey Troglodytes, and welcome back to another episode of Trogly's Guitars. Today we have a beautiful 2002 Gibson Les Paul Custom in one of the nicest creamy white finishes I've seen in a while. Now this custom is special because it came from Yamaha Music. And if you know anything about that, they only accept the very best that Gibson has to offer. They kind of got that reputation back in the 80s where if anything was subpar, they would send it back. So since then, Yamaha's always got the choice Gibsons. So if you ever find a Gibson that has one of these manuals with it from Yamaha Music, you know it's a good one. So without further ado, let's take a look at her. Alright, so white Les Paul Customs. If you're in the market for a white Les Paul Custom, odds are you're either a Randy Rhoads fan or you just love the way these things age. They start off pristine white, and then slowly over the years, they age into this beautiful cream finish, and this is what everybody wants. Most people don't want the ones that almost turn completely yellow. That happens if you played in a bunch of smoky bars and whatnot. But this is a really nice example. As I said earlier, it's got that perfect creamed out Randy Rhoads look to it. And overall it's in pretty good shape. And it plays really well too. So this one is all original with his Gibson USA pickups. The only exception is a Schaller strap locks. We will start with the headstock here. The headstock's in fantastic shape for being, what is it? A little over 12 years or so. You have your typical tooling marks around the Gibson logo, as you can see there. That's just kind of how they did the inlays. That's honestly how you know it's an authentic Gibson. Yeah, but besides that, no real major nicks or dings to really report, besides a few very light scratches that we'll try to show you in this area here, but nothing too bad. On to the fretboard. Still ebony. It's 2002. I think they did away with ebony in like 2011, 2012. And the frets are in great shape. Very little to no wear to speak of. You do have the typical white Gibson Les Paul thing going on, where you can see the line where the fretboard was joined to the neck. There is that visible line. It's not a break, crack, or repair. Pretty well every single white Les Paul Custom will get that in time, but that is there, but it's nothing to worry about. Same thing with a small check in that area. On to the gorgeous body here. The body is extremely clean. It doesn't really look like it was played, heavily, but it definitely has some light wear. First point of attention, it'll be kind of right here. We'll get it in the light here. You can kind of see it reflecting where there's like a small indentation, but overall it's not too bad. Next point of interest, there's a small ding in this area right there. And besides that, the guitar's pretty well clean on the top, just your average polishing marks and light picking scratches. But you got your sweet speed knobs. This guitar is just really nice. I'm really digging this one. It plays really well. Back of the headstock, you can see there's a little bit of discoloration right here. There must have been something there at some point in time, but serial number is 03292470, made in USA. Show that off there. Have a little bit of discoloration in this area there, but that's probably from a stand or something. And the previously mentioned line there. But overall, it's in good shape. Once again, some slight discoloration there, but that's kind of how white finishes are. They don't always age evenly. This one's aged pretty evenly for the most part. I'm not seeing any real nicks or dings on the neck anywhere, so your neck is free from all that garbage. So it's a nice player. I would say 60s profile, but kind of a medium 60s, not quite 50s, but it definitely has a little bit more to it than compared to that deluxe I listed earlier this week. Now the back of the guitar looks great, but once you get it kind of in the light at the right angle, you can start to see some buckle rash going on. which is kind of a shame because otherwise this guitar would be considered like super excellent condition. But at the same time, you don't have to be scared to play this one because it already has some clear coat wear. It's not, rubbing through the finish or anything like that, so you're definitely good, and it's mainly congested in this area right here. So overall, not too bad there. You got your original Gibson USA pots in here, and it's just a fantastic guitar. Take a look at the sides here real quick. Nothing to really note. Just, average light plate wear. Something to mention, if you're a pickguard off type player, it's kind of interesting how this guitar has aged. Usually, underneath the pickguard and the bridge and tailpiece, it's the original white color. It's kind of done the opposite on this one. It's actually darker underneath the pickguard. I'll have a picture of that on the listing. So if you're a pickguard off person, you're still going to have kind of a dark yellow pickguard under there. So I would suggest just leaving it on. But all in all, this is a fantastic guitar, right at 10 pounds. It's an awesome player. It's got the Randy Rhoads vibe with very little play wear. This is the one you want. This beauty does come with its original Gibson USA case. And these cases are actually pretty nice. They're very similar to the 90s brown cases, except for they introduced the snakeskin-like Tolex, changed the logo to silver now. But they still have that locking latch. The only thing that this one doesn't have is the black shroud instead of the pink shroud. I'm not sure if it was taken off or if this is one of the later ones that didn't have it, but there is no shroud on this case. But you can see you still have that kind of angled padding right there as the 90s ones did. They're still TKL made, so they're very nice cases, and inside sleeps some of the original case candy. You got the nice lid ribbon. I mean, this case really is nice, and it's in pretty good shape. You've got some very minor nicks and dings and scratches, and some lack of luster on the finish of the, it looks like nickel almost, just the way it's aged. But besides that, the case is in great shape, and it's a fantastic one to gig with. This one weighs just a tiny 0.3 of an ounce over 10 pounds. That's like the perfect Les Paul weight. This one's really well balanced as well. I know I've been saying that a lot lately, but this one particularly feels lighter than it is. We'll do a quick black light test just to show that the finish is all original. Headstock is good. Neck is good. As you can see, the front of the body is a nice even glow as well. So we are good on the front. The back of the headstock here is good. You can see that's not a break, crack, or repair. That's just kind of where the player's hand has rubbed away the clear coat a little bit there, where the volute would be. And you can see the line I was talking about earlier, clearer here. That's just where the fretboard joined the neck. That has been on every single white custom I've ever had. I wish it didn't happen, but for whatever reason, this white finish, it always happens. Back of the guitar, also all original, finish-wise. And you can kind of see that buckle wear a little more clearly now. Sides of the guitar are also clean. You got a little bit of the clear coat worn away there, kind of at the outside of the cutaway, but nothing too bad. Kind of a similar situation there. I guess I forgot to mention that. The finish is kind of cracked right there, but I mean, it doesn't affect playability. It's this kind of, something about this white finish, it's just fragile for some reason. It cracks. Take a quick look at that area in normal lighting. So as you can see, you've got that finish split there. But once again, it's just cosmetic. It's not structural. It's not going to ever cause you any issues. But if you pick at it, you might lose some of the finish. So now that we've got all that out of the way, let's hear how she sounds. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you next time.